Hello there and welcome to my channel. If this is the first time you're watching my video or videos, please do not watch and leave. Punch the subscribe button. That is the only way you will get a notification when subsequent videos are uploaded. That said, there are three issues to talk about. The first one is the message from the Bishop of Bafoussam to Molinex Minister Paul Atanga, the man who has been on the case of clergymen lately. Remember, Paul Atanga did warn that he doesn't care who you are. If you try to delve into a domain that is not yours, they know where to keep you. And so that didn't go down well with the clergyman of Bafoussam, who came out to send a response to Atanga, saying there can only be peace where there is truth, and I am not afraid of you. Well, Atanga will get such messages because he has decided to put himself at the forefront of everything as far as the government in Yaoundé is concerned. And while the clergyman in Bafoussam was replying to Paul Atanga's threat, Nkea of the Northwest region led a few bishops to meet with Ferdinand Gongo, Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic in Yaoundé, right there at Etudi. And they did discuss, and we'll touch what they discussed. And finally, the big one was the communique that was made public by the firebrand MP, former member of the National Executive Committee of the SDF and leader of the FCC party, who doubles as the national coordinator of the Alliance for Change. I'm talking about Honorable Jean-Michel Ninche. He came out to put an end to the rumor that Professor Maurice Kamto, Peluba Maigari, Issa Chiroma Bakari, all former members of Bia's government, now headed by Ngongo, were planning to synergize their strategies and political know-how in a bid to unseat the current government. Jean-Michel Ninche has said that is not true. Well, Jean-Michel Ninche was speaking in his capacity as coordinator of the Alliance for Change, and Professor Maurice Kamto happens to be part of that alliance. And it is clear now that if there is a coalition to take place, some parties will have to come towards them and join them, and they will rub minds and see what can come out for the good of the entire nation. Remember, people are expecting a lot from Professor Maurice Kamto, despite the rejection of his candidacy by not only the electoral body, but also the Constitutional Council, all arms of the regime working for the government of Ngongo. Why are they counting on Professor Maurice Kamto? You see, as leader of the Cameroon Renaissance movement, the past months, if not years, have seen the man and his party put forth a formidable job to galvanize Cameroonians to be interested again in elections and also to register for the upcoming presidential election. And now, what is going to happen if he is not a candidate? These people will not vote. And that is not what he wants. That is not what the Alliance for Change want. They want to be active in the forthcoming presidential election. They want to use it to put an end to the government in Yaoundé. But for that to take place, Professor Maurice Kamto will have to go through a serious test, that of showing that he is a statesman, that of showing that he has the nation at heart, that of proving that it is not all about personal interest, it is all about general interest. And so he must put the interests of the people of Cameroon over his own interests by accepting to work with the real opposition parties, in order to see change come to Cameroon. And therefore, the communique says in the days ahead, the plan B of Professor Maurice Kamto will be made known to Cameroonians. Now, Atanga, on the other hand, is having sleepless nights as usual. You see, he will do just any and everything to make sure that he stays in government and that the government stays in power, because should that government drop, Atanga is dropping thrice, 3 times. He would drop 3 times because he knows exactly what they have done, and what they have done, they cannot escape justice. And that is why Minister Atanga is threatening even bishops, friends of Mr. Biya over the years who have been with him, for him. But today they have told him, it is time for you to do the right thing. Take your well-deserved rest, your retirement. Go and rest and let someone else manage the affairs of the country. But as stubborn as the regime in Yaoundé is, they are not heeding to the calls made not only by the bishops, by the entire nation. And so, in the days ahead, we know that the Cold War, the war of words, will continue until October will show its ugly face and probably leave smiling because it must have brought change to Cameroon. It's a month that is pregnant with surprises. And then there are still bishops who gather the courage to go to Yaoundé to meet with the Secretary General at the Presidency of the Republic, Ferdinand Gongo. And in a letter that was handed to him, it is clear that the bishops made it categorically clear that they are not happy with the situation Cameroon finds itself in. Economic hardship, unemployment, underdevelopment, and you name the rest. Listen, these people are in touch with the population. Yes, because those who constitute members of their congregations are Cameroonians, and so they know the plight of their congregation, who are Cameroonians, and they cannot sit back and watch their congregation perish, and that is why they have become so vocal. But as stubborn as the regime is, they will not heed to the advice of the clergymen, the same clergymen who have been friends of the government in the past. And do not forget, when the kingdom of God suffers violence, they become violent and take it by force. And I think that is what is happening. Because you saw what happened. Our government cannot be trusted. Our government cannot be trusted. There was a kind of a biblical portion of the Bible that was acted by the government in Yaoundé, when the Ministry of Territorial Administration, through its representatives, stood up in the Congress Hall in front of the Constitutional Council and said they do not know Anicet Ekane as president of Manidem Party. It was like Simon Peter saying, I don't know Jesus. Because this is the same man that they have been addressing letters, inviting to preparatory meetings ahead of the presidential election that is billed for October. He has been signing and receiving a subvention directed towards that party by the government. Yet, on that day, they denied him, just like Simon denied Jesus. The only thing that was lacking in the Congress Hall was a cock to crow 3 times and prove them wrong. And so there is nobody who trusts the government of Mr. Biya, not even international organizations and financial institutions like the IMF that sounded a warning that they are worried about a possible chaos in Cameroon should Mr. Biya run for president. And so that is why I keep telling you that October is pregnant with surprises, and time has a way of solving the puzzle.